Lighting will not be good for this one. Audio might not be either. I don't know what will be good for this one, but I see the watermelons already going off in the chat. I'm going to try and do the post-race stream. It's not the greatest internet, so if we, blank out, I apologize. But let's let everybody roll in here if they're able. I know it's late. I know there's storms on the way. I can see in the distance storms on the way. But tons of watermelons. Lick that like button. I know that it's a bit different than what we normally do, but when we're at the track, we just got to make do with what we got. So I'll wait until everybody's about in. I got my notes, mostly, but hey, we're at the track. I can't help that the Wi-Fi was bad and I had to do it from my car on the backstretch. But let's see, what do you all think of this race? Because I personally thought it was a pretty good race. I personally thought that. By the way, click the like button, subscribe if you're new. I personally thought it was a good race. I know some probably won't. Some might say differently. Man, Darian's car has such better lighting than mine. I did not get a sunburn. That's just how it looks. I swear, I'm not actually burnt this time. Just bear with me. I'm trying to get all the lights on. I have like orange lights or so, like in my car, so it's gonna make me look red. But let's start off in here now that we got people. I see Ricardo saying, "See, Ross, you can win without wrecking the whole field, including yourself." No controversy for Chastain. That's right. By the way, let me know, how is the audio? I don't know if there's any discrepancy of the audio but let me know how the audio is, and we can get right into the 2023 Ally 400. I don't have too much information when it comes to cautions, leaders, lead changes. There wasn't much given, honestly. But we can look at the rest of it. I did see the race time, at least in the media center, was given at 3 hours, 6 seconds. But I see 3 hours, 1 minute might be it. But also, lick the like button. We're only at 30 likes. Let's get those likes up. And while we're at it, we can get into the finishing order of the 2023 Ally 400. I know it's late. I know that it's a little, there's a lag, I think, like between real time and what you see. But the finishing order was Ross Chastain with the win, Martin Truex Jr. in second, then Denny Hamlin, Chase Elliott, and Kyle Larson in the top 5. Then after that, there's William Byron in 6th. 7th is Bell Jones, 8th. Solid run for Eric Jones. And then you got Kyle Busch and AJ Allmendinger, the top 10. Looking at the super chat that popped up here, Fred Dog 81 for 5. Don't blame Blaney for being mad at the safers on the walls. No ifs and or buts. Amazing that there are still unprotected spots. We'll definitely talk about that. I am not happy about that either. And I don't blame Ryan Blaney for not being happy about that. It is, I think the way I put it to Darian is it's been 22 years since Dale Earnhardt passed away, and there's still not full protection around every racetrack. I don't understand. And I hope that that's different next time. After that, though, there is Brad Keselowski in 11th, Daniel Suárez in 12th. Suárez and Briscoe having a little altercation post-race. Then you got Austin Dillon, Ty Gibbs, Bubba Wallace, Ryan Preece, Alex Bowman, Christopher Buescher, Joey Logano, and Corey LaJoie, the top 20. After that, then you got Harrison Burton rounding out the lead lap guys in 21st. From there, one lap down was Stenhouse, Haley, Harvick in 24th after some bad luck. Then Almirola, Gregson, Cindric, and McDowell. Also, thank you, David Bell, for the 2. Good race. Christopher was loose until the last stop. I did see, though, still solid 7th place finish from Christopher Bell. Looking at the rest, J.J. Yaley in 29th, -2 down. Then you got Tyler Reddick, 30th, 2 laps down. So is Chase Briscoe in 31st and Ty Dillon in 32nd. After that, you got Brennan Poole in 33rd, -3. Josh Bilicki, -3 in 34th. And Todd Gillen, -4 in 35th. Then Ryan Blaney last out of this race after a crash. Let's kind of go through. I want to see what you guys are saying. Keep leaving everything you think in the chat. I will do my best to read. I'll do my best to keep my hands steady so I'm not shaking you all around while we talk about this. I understand it's late, so I appreciate everybody coming on out that can. Elliot said he was almost a caution on the final two. Clean racing. What was Suárez doing though? Yeah, I only got the tail end of that because I was outside, so I didn't necessarily see it. But I don't know what exactly happened there. We'll talk about it in a moment. But going through the recap of this race, Chastain was on the pole on lap 16. You had Kyle Busch going down the pits with a flat tire. I have people shining lights at me. That really set Kyle Busch apart the whole race, and he was definitely, I would say, trying to make up for what was, an early misstep in this race. And then, of course, some little instances as well. There's people passing by. This is not my normal setup. And by the way, we'll be in the garage the next 2 weeks. We're not going to have the normal setup for a little while, but we will have the garage at least for the Chicago race, which we will be live after that one right after, I promise. NASCAR Weekly Podcast this week, also on it. And thank you to the Gun for 5. Am I feeling any better? Yeah, I was sick beforehand. I'm feeling about 90% now. I got a lot better as the race went on. When I got here today, I was like 101, not feeling too hot. I'm definitely going to call my parents afterwards, let them know I'm doing better. Of course, my dad in the chat too. But yeah, I am doing better. Not 100%, but pretty good. Spam those melons in the chat. No, I did not take any IVs like Parker. I was better. Yes, I had a fever, and unfortunately, more cowbell would not have fixed it. But yeah, spam those melons in the chat in the least non-demonetizable way you can. But looking through, green flag stops started on lap 42. Then on lap 60, you had Gregson holding up Ross Chastain while Tyler Reddick was running him down. And honestly, getting back at him a little bit for the Kansas deal. It was funny because somebody that I know that is around the Legacy team was like, oh yeah, those two, they can't stand each other. And it was so funny because for laps and laps and laps, Gregson just kept holding him off until Reddick got by. And I thought it was pretty funny, honestly, if I had to say. But in stage one, and wow, there's a bright light behind me. In stage one, though, we had Reddick winning it with Chastain in second. Then third was Byron. Then MTJ, Denny Hamlin, Chase Elliott, Kyle Busch, Kyle Larson, Christopher Bell, and AJ Allmendinger, the top 10. And man, they're putting on their brights behind me too because they're assholes. It's blinding, man. So you can literally see on my face. It's not the normal setup, and we'll just say that. But then you had going to stage two. Well, Kyle Busch would speed on in the pits, as well as Kevin Harvick, so they were put to the back. On lap 96, you have a restart. A three-wide battle for the lead that lasted, I got to say, at least 5 or so laps between Martin Truex Jr., William Byron, and Ross Chastain. And man, he just turned another set of brights on. Go away. I can barely see because of that. But that was an incredible battle. And over again, you think, oh, yeah, Chastain's got him on the top. Or no, Byron's got him in the middle this time. And then it ended up being Martin Truex Jr. who skated by him on the bottom. And I thought it was one of the most badass battles for the lead that we have seen this year. Probably in the next-gen car, honestly. By the way, lick that like button if you thought that was a badass battle for the lead. I should see tons of likes coming in because that was awesome. And I personally thought that that, in my opinion, should be what everyone remembers from this race. Unfortunately, craziness followed. So, you have another green flag cycle begin on lap 135. And while these are the big moments, there's not too many big moments. The racing itself all around was awesome in this race. I have no complaints for the racing. The parts of the broadcast I did see, I loved. I know NBC, started late or like late post or pre-race, by pre-race standards, but you know what? I thought that jumping in was really fun, and it was worth it. And wow, thank you to my mom for a $50 super chat. Go get some rest. I'll start an IV on you if you need it. I'm better. I'm a lot better. I swear. Not 90%, but I was like 70% earlier, so it's all good. But I appreciate it, Mom. And I will call you and Dad after. I promise. See, I'm a lot better, but that's awesome. And yeah, I love it. Give my mom and dad some love in the chat, y'all. They're awesome. They're always watching. I love it. And keeps me from saying too much stupid stuff too. At least when it comes to non-NASCAR. But anyway, lap 130, 138, you have during the green flag cycle, Tyler Reddick's tire falls off, flies off as he's coming to pit road, and the cops are after someone behind me. It's wild, man. Racetrack's wild. But his tire falls off while coming to pit road. I believe NASCAR ruled it that he was technically on pit road, but he also had a commitment cone violation. If they didn't rule it, he definitely did. He spun through where the commitment cone would be. But that caused the biggest incident of the day. On lap 145, we have a restart, and it's a big crash. Brad Keselowski doesn't go to start. I believe William Byron got into the back of him, but Chastain kind of got in the back of him. I think it was a chain reaction. I don't think that we should be, crucifying Chastain on all this, because honestly, that happens on these restarts. They get backed up like that. I'm not saying that it wasn't a bad thing. I don't like seeing cars wrecked, but I don't want to go after Chastain for something, because I saw some people doing that. That honestly was just a normal restart incident. But with that, Kyle Busch gets spun. Him and I believe Blaney had gotten into each other. Just watching the golf carts race now. I swear it's nuts, y'all. But they get spun. Kyle Busch is able to save it up and get it straight forward. But Ryan Blaney isn't, and he goes right down into the inside wall and ends up head first into a non-safer barrier wall. And I'm going to say this right now. I appreciate how good Nashville Superspeedway has been to me. I care, but I care deeply also about the safety of the drivers. And there is no reason in 2023 that there should be open walls without safer barriers. I would understand if this was 2004 or 2008. Hell, I'd even understand if it were the middle of the 2010s. But, safer barriers were put in place more and more by NASCAR after Dale Earnhardt's passing. And it's been 22 years, and there are still open spots. And it's very rare. It's been a long time since we've talked about this subject. But these cars cause much harder hits now than they have in at least a decade and a half. These cars cause more injuries than any car since the Gen 4 car really has, consistently, with concussions. And we don't even know if Ryan Blaney is not concussed or not. He was talking after, but you cannot tell a lot of times, unless it's really bad, if somebody has a concussion. And sometimes you can't tell by the hit. I mean, I wouldn't have been able to tell by Alex Bowman's hit that he got concussed at Texas last year. But my point being is that even if he's not, it's not to say, well, he didn't get hurt, so let's not overreact. No, I don't think that getting upset that lack of safety in the 2020s, I don't think that's overreacting. And almost 10 years since Kyle Busch's Daytona incident. where, and even then, that was seen as, not as egregious as it is now, but still pretty egregious. I don't like, especially one of the stars of our sport, being put in danger when he doesn't have to be. I don't think any driver at this point, at any point, if it can be handled, should be put in danger at any point, and for a reason that can be relatively easily figured out. And I think that's something that can be relatively easily fixed. I think the next race they will have safer barrier there. It reminds me of so many. Oh, there goes the car lights. Hold on. In the dark. Oh, I guess we're going dark on this one. There we go. Yeah, we'll be in the dark on this one a little bit. But I don't like that. I don't like the idea of this becoming a conversation again. I thought we were past this conversation personally in NASCAR. Maybe if I start the car up and then turn it off. Thank you, Fred Dog, by the way, for the 5. Who's more at fault? Suárez for the U-turn without looking, or Briscoe for speeding past all the cars the cool-down lap for no reason? We'll get there. No, the battery did not die, I promise. This happened. There's a timer on my car's lights. This has done this before. Matthew, thank you for the 10. Big Larson fan here. The 5 team needs to get their consistency back and their act together. They haven't been a factor for the last couple of races. Kyle's even said they've lost speed. Come on, guys. And by the way, I apologize if I'm reading super chats in the middle of talking. They go away quick when I'm doing it on mobile. Yeah, we'll stay dark for now. Why not? Make sure all these are. Yeah, it'll work. It'll fix itself. I promise. Or open and close the door. Yeah, that probably will work. You can tell I don't do this often. I appreciate it, yours truly, Chris. I'm probably going full dumbass on this one. But finishing up where I was talking with that, yeah, I think that's something that, and if there is any track that has safer barriers still, not in every place that they're supposed to be, that needs to be fixed immediately. And Dale Dawson for 5, Iceberg after dark, I believe it said. Yes. The super chats just fly away on me, so I apologize if I miss them or have to act like an idiot reading them. But yeah, it's just inexcusable to me. It's inexcusable. To me, it's the equivalent of the NFL giving people a single handlebar face mask and a helmet from the 90s and saying, okay, play the game as it's being played today. Even with all the safety precautions, that's still incredibly more dangerous for a player with how much faster and harder the hits are. It's the same premise here. Need for Speed 53 for the 2. Ty Dillon with the top 35. Let's go. Yeah. Actually, top 32. For a while, he was outrunning Chase Briscoe, which we'll talk about that too. But then, okay, after that, we have on lap 152 a restart where it's Hamlin versus Truex, with Hamlin getting the spot ultimately after they kind of went back and forth. But the stage would end with Hamlin, Truex, Chastain, Byron, and Bell the top 5. And then Bubba Wallace in 6th, Chase Elliott 7th, AJ Allmendinger 8th, 9th, Kevin Harvick, and 10th, Eric Jones. Let's see, GN NASCAR fan says NBC stayed on the air with a good 45 minutes post-race. Good. More post-race, less pre-race. There's a reason that we do these streams. Post-race is much, much more interesting, and there's a lot more you can talk about. Alessandro, also in here. Jarrett, now with 9 races remaining before the playoffs, who will be the next winner or winners this season? I'm still going Ty Gibbs. I think Ty Gibbs, he's going to get one. Austin, thank you for the 2. Love you, man. Well, thank you. I appreciate it. Longtime supporter. I know you are, Austin, and I don't know why I talked like Yoda, but I appreciate the support, and it's awesome always seeing you in the chat. Now, the last stage was relatively uneventful, but I thought the racing still was very good. On lap 192, there was a restart. Hamlin got the lead. With 70 to go, though, Chastain would pass the 11. And that would pretty much, I think, end up being for the win. I don't think, other than the green flag pit stops in the middle of the cycle, anyone got past him. But with 61 to go, it seemed like Kevin Harvick was charging, and the 4 car was the fastest car on track, and then their right rear went flat. It was too much load on that car, on that team, on Kevin Harvick for carrying Stewart-Haas Racing the way they have. Seeing how, if I'm not mistaken, let's see. Oh, Priest did get a 16th place finish. So Harvick, even with that, was still the 2nd place SHR driver over Eric Almirola and Chase Briscoe. Yes, Darian did jinx him, as Darian so often does. But during this cycle, Kyle Busch and Alex Bowman would stay out. With 40 to go, Kyle Busch pitted out of the lead, leaving Alex Bowman the sole survivor on a strategy run, trying to get the win. Maybe a caution comes out, goes his way. But I believe with 33 to go, he would pit, giving the lead to Chastain. The duel would be between Chastain and Truex, but ultimately Chastain held him off. There was plenty of passing, plenty of racing all around. It was not, I personally thought it was the best Nashville race since NASCAR's Cup Series and triple headers, weekend started back in 2021 here. I thought the racing overall all weekend was the best it was, even if the Xfinity race is a bit of a crash fest. Cast and Blast, though, asking, why didn't NBC do the national anthem, prayer, or starting of the engines? So there are storms coming through. They're probably going to hit here in the next 30 or so minutes. Once I get off here, I'm heading straight home. But from what I heard, NASCAR and NBC wanted to start it off about 30 minutes earlier so that the fans could see the whole race. The whole race was never going to be an issue. So the fans could see the whole race and safely get out. And I'm all for that. You know what? I like having the national anthem and the prayer and pre-race stuff, and it should be, for the most part, on. But if, again, it's the same thing as the drivers. We've had fans die before because of getting struck by lightning, and I think NASCAR made the right call. I know some people were upset with it. I don't think it's going to become a thing that happens all the time. I don't think it's going to be something that NASCAR does to, get away from the base or to, do stuff that is purposely just pissing off the fans. I don't think it's that. I think it's just they made the right move. They made the safe move. I can tell you now, I had to walk. It was about a 15-minute walk for me to get back to my car, and I had a short walk. And I would definitely want to do that with full visibility rather than having a bunch of drunk NASCAR fans driving through rain or worse, a thunderstorm. It probably should have been clarified in the broadcast. I understand that. I'm not going to say they shouldn't have done that. But I will stand by this move. I mean, at the track all day, the atmosphere was like, oh man, we're going to be cutting it close. So for them to do that, and it's not a move that's done much anymore. It was done a lot more in the 2000s, but for them to do that, it's the right call. And I know there's a lot of people in Kentucky right now who are dealing with the storms or just dealt with the storms that us in Tennessee are going to be dealing with, and I can guarantee they'd probably say the same thing. And they did have to, like, I know Nightly News or whatever, they switched a lot of stuff around, and it was definitely, if at the track, it was definitely causing a few issues, but I don't like being struck by lightning or hit by cars. So I personally liked it. I don't like the idea of a bunch of drunk NASCAR fans driving through a storm if we don't have to. I know not all of them are, but there's a good amount that are, or at least there's some idiots for sure. If you've ever been to a NASCAR race, so I like the move. As there's more people looking at me like I'm an idiot. Maybe they're right. But after the race, last little bit after the race. The 14-99 incident. So I don't know, because it caught all of us off guard, if Briscoe was searching for Suárez, or if Suárez was trying to get at Briscoe, or if they caused enemies with each other. I saw the replay from both of them. I don't know what happened. But if either of them did that intentionally, that's stupid. Get out of your car and do it. Do not pull that stupid crap during the cool down lap when people are unbuckling, and it's unsafe. It's the same thing when Suárez and Chastain got into each other after the race at Coda. It's dumb. Don't put people at risk. And so I hope it wasn't intentional. I don't think it was intentional from what I heard. It didn't seem like too many were upset. I didn't see all this stuff. When you're at the track, you got to understand you don't see all this stuff on air. So I probably wasn't, but man, that took me off guard. I want to know what Ross Chastain thought in that situation. Oh, okay, so he was going to congratulate him. Yeah, I want to know what Chastain thought. I was assuming it was probably that, but I'm not sure. But I want to know what Ross Chastain thought. Like, wow, for once a Trackhouse car cost something crazy, and it wasn't me. Yeah, so I hope they're all right too. I hope they didn't do any, too much damage to each other. I don't know why though Chase Briscoe was going so fast up there though. I get that if it's a mistake, but why was Briscoe gunning it past a bunch of people on the cool down lap like that? That's the thing I want to know too. But you know what? If they're both okay, if it was all an accident, if it's dumb, then is what it is. I did see Carl Edwards. I got to talk to him. That was pretty cool. I got to see TJ Hawkinson from the Minnesota Vikings. That was cool as a Vikings fan. Saw a bunch of other people. But overall, I enjoyed the race. I enjoyed the weekend. And I can't wait for the podcast on Wednesday night on this channel, 8 p.m. Eastern time. I think it's going to be a lot of fun talking about this. I don't know. Is there anything else that I haven't talked about yet? I guess thoughts on the Chicago race is going to be interesting. I will not be going to Michigan, by the way. I apologize. Plans changed. But as for Chicago, it's going to be interesting. I'll say this. I will go in with an open mind, though. I got my Chicagoland Speedway stuff on, so that probably is hollow words for some. Fred Dog 81, thank you for the 5. Would you make Chastain and Truex the favorites to win at Bristol? The last two concrete tracks they've been on, Dover and Nashville, they finished 1-2. I think they'd be really fast. I think they would. Next race for me, maybe Pocono. We'll see. I know for sure Kansas. Might be a little sparse towards the end of the year. You might be seeing a lot of me in the studio for the end of the year. But that's at least the plan now. Thank you to Garabuki for the 5. Suárez ended up coming to victory lane after to congratulate Ross. Good, clean racing that never got boring. I agree. I loved it. To me, that was a solid 8 out of 10 race. You didn't have to have a giant wrecks to make everything better and bunch everything up. You didn't have to have something stupid happen at the end. It was a very good, solid race. I'd give it an 8 out of 10 on this. Let me know what you guys would give it. I wish I could do polls on mobile, but I can't. But I'm giving it an 8 out of 10. I thought it was a lot of fun. GN NASCAR fan, thank you for the 2. NBC doing radio-style broadcasts in Chicago, too. Nice. I like the grid walk that they did with Dale Jr. and Jeff Burton. I hope that stays. From what I heard, it sounds like it might be something that they're going to keep for a while, and if fans like it, we'll keep it. If not, they won't. But I liked it. I liked that they tried new things, and the broadcast felt fresh, explained things, which is everything that fans were not enjoying that Fox wasn't doing. That's what I enjoyed. If I'm a Fox producer, I'm sweating right now. More than I'm sweating in this hot car. So last little bit, and then we're going to head on out. Beast 1624 said had some semi-major surgery earlier this week. Still hurting, but happier guy won. Nice. And I hope your recovery is good. Eric Jones, Fox not care anymore. Well, Fox cares enough to pay a lot of money, so they better start caring. Not caring, but caring. As for, well, yes, Eric will be at Michigan. This week's going to be a lot of fun on the podcast. I'll just say that. We're going to talk about a lot. I have a feeling that the Haley Deegan talk we had on this show 2 days ago will be, that will be talked about a lot. But my voice is starting to fail me. I got to go home and get a little sleep, try and make a video for tomorrow, and then call my parents too while I'm heading back. So I think that we're gonna head on out. I appreciate all of you coming out. And just like at Gateway, I completely forgot how to end a stream on mobile, so it might just end with me going like that. So, but thank you guys so much for watching. I appreciate it. I can't wait to see you this week in all the videos, as well as the podcast on Wednesday and all the post-race stuff this coming weekend in Chicago. And until next time,